Hello guys, welcome to day 17 here on the Advent of Cyber here on TryHackMe, and today we'll still be doing log analysis using Splunk. Okay, and now something happened. An attacker deleted or disconnected the main server from the Waveview network, and then when they tried to contact the security company to get some CCTV, they said they can't access it, and also that some CCTV footage were not tampered with. But in this case, we're going to do some analysis to find out if that was true or not. So the learning objective here is to learn how to extract custom fields in Splunk, to learn to create a parser for the custom logs, and then to filter and narrow down the search results using search processing language, and lastly, it's how to investigate in Splunk. Without further ado, we're going to start the machine here. We're going to start the machine. Once the machine is ready, we'll jump right into. Okay, in this room we're not going to be using the attack box, we're just going to use turn on the virtual machine, and then there's a direct link, which is this one here. So once it's ready, we just click on that link and get started. So our IP address is ready, so we just click on this link here to take us to a new browser here, a new tab. Alright, so once the interface here is ready, let me zoom in a little bit here. Okay, once it's ready, we click here on search and reporting. Once you click on search and reporting, it's going to take us over to this page here where we want to search for index, just like index equals to a wildcard, which is like an asterisk here. Okay, and then we want to search for all time, not the last 24 hours. So click on search. Okay, we have a huge amount of results, over 10,000 events, but what we want to look out for is the source type, so we'll be able to filter. We see the values for web logs and CCTV logs, so we want to start off with the CCTV logs. Okay, now once you click on CCTV logs, you can be able to see it has like the recording ID, source type, and so on and so forth. But in this case now, I want to scroll down to this part and extract new fields, because we're definitely sure it has some other things we need. So click on extract new field. Once you click on that, it takes us to this page where we want to click the time range. We want to set it to preset and all time. Okay, once you do that, now we want to select a basic log, a sample here, which is just click on one of it. It's going to be like the sample, and we've selected the sample. We hit next. Over here we want to select the method. Now it's either in delimiters or regular expression or regex. Delimiter means it may be separated with a comma and so on, but in regex, if you notice, we have the time in this format, space logout space, which is the event ID, username, and session ID. So we can just select regular expression, hit next. Now we have to select fields. To select this field, you can come over here, mark this time here, and once you select that, it should give you an option to name it. You can call it time stamp. Alright, and hit add extraction. Okay, once you do that, if you come over here, you're going to see it already started creating it here. Okay, next is this logout part. We're going to select that, and we want to name that event and hit add extraction. Next is this number here, which is an ID. We call it the user underscore ID and have add extraction. Next, we want to select this byte, and that will call it a user name, add extraction. And lastly, we want to select this last piece here, which is the session ID. You see it didn't select properly, so we'll select that again, and then we'll call that what, the session underscore ID. Okay, and then we hit add extraction. If we scroll down here, now we can see our timestamp separated event. As you can see, the event, user ID, username, session. Okay, now click on next to validate, and then this is where the issue is. We can find out from the event here that some has check marks and some have X. And why is that? You see where we have our timestamp, there's no issue. You see where we have the event, the words are together, watch, camera, download, recording, there's no space. But you see where there was login successfully, there was a space between them, and that's where the issue comes in. Okay, another thing here is, if you notice, there's a number right here, right after the username, that is affecting the session ID as well. So this we also need to find out that that's more like the issue, it's not passing it properly. And then we just hit next here and save, finish. Now we want to explore the field we just created. Okay, once you click on that, right, loads our page. You can over here just delete this part here that says index equals to this and hit enter. Okay, that should load our page right after that. All right, over here we need to change the time to all time, and then we go over here. Now we can actually see the username, as you can see how it's ordered. And if we click on something like the session ID, we notice there's something wrong, like we mentioned before. So there's a value attaching to the session ID. Okay, so there's a problem here. So in order for us to modify or be able to improve our sorting or filter, we just come over to settings and let's go to fields. When we click on fields, we'll be able to it's loading, so let's give it a second. All right, once it's loaded, we click on field extractions. Okay, we want to now filter this by CCTV. Okay, CCTV. Okay, we hit search, and as you can see, this is the previous one we have here. We want to delete that. Okay, once we delete that and it's gone, all right, now we want to come over here and open field extractor. Okay, once we open field extractor, so with our field extractor, we want to start the extracting field. First, to select our sample event. Source type, we leave it as source type. The source type here is, we're going to use the CCTV, and we want to set it to CCTV logs. And the time, we want to set it to preset all time. Okay, now the next thing we're supposed to do is to select a sample, but in this case now we're going to say I prefer to write the regular expression myself. Once you click on that, we need to paste the regular expression. This is where if you're good at Splunk, you need to rewrite it by yourself, but in this case, I want to come over here and copy the one TryHackMe has already prepared, and I'll try to explain what it does. So copy, and I'll come over here and I'll paste this. Now what this is doing is, you can see our events here. We have timestamp, event, which is login, username, session, and so on. Now for this timestamp here, you see what it's trying to say, that for timestamp it's going to have a date, a dash, date, dash, date, and then there's going to be a space, then a date, a date, a date, then a space, and so on and so forth. So this is a date dash date dash date, a space, date that there's a column. Not in this space, this is giving you a dash, but in this case it's giving us a column, as you can see. Okay, so more or less this is how we're going to write it to separate it properly. Where the issue lies was over here in the event. Under the event, we'll notice that if it's login, it should paste every other word as normal, but if you see anything login, we want that login to have, if there's a space between it and a word, we'll add that. So basically this is where we started resolving the issue, and so on. Similarly, after the username, if there is any space, or if there's any word space, we can add that particular wildcard there to add that word there. Okay, so more or less this regular expression resolves the issue that we are having. Okay, with that in, we'll preview, and if we preview, now we're able to see that we have our date stamp correctly. We're now able to have logout watch time. Then when we come to login successfully, see it's putting it together. And then over here, after the username, if there's anything, we'll put it as a wildcard, and that's why we see over here there is 10, separating it from the session ID. So since we've seen that this has resolved our issue, over here you can even see where it says recording ID equals to 33, 10. It's anything that comes after that, we'll put them together. Okay, then we'll separate the session ID after that. So this is how it's resolved. With that, we can save, and then we can finish. And we'll go over to explore the fields I just created in the search. Okay, all right, now we want to take this off, this first part. We just want our index. Over here we want it to be in all time. Okay, once we search that, we'll get it. Now let's begin to do some kind of analysis over here. Instead of the index, in this case we want to have it to be set to CCTV log. So let's do some filtering. Right, we have this as CCTV feed. Okay, we want it to be on CCTV feed, and okay, we want to pipe that with let's say we want to count, so we want to the stats count. Okay, so stats start count, okay, which is start count by event. What this is going to do, we want to count the event of the CCTV field. If we hit search, all right, we can see the event here is separated. We have the biggest event here to be 1373, the watch camera. Logout was very small, 642. Login successful, 642. Login failed, 16. This is getting our attention. Deleting record, set to 2. Now this is where something interesting comes in. Now, but we want to now see if we count this start by event, we want to see this event by username, and let's see the people who did this. Okay, so we want to do the start event, we want to count it by username, and let's search. Okay, now we have the users here. We have software, malware, matter, hardware, glitch, and so on. Okay, and the highest person who did something is Byte, and this is the person we are suspecting to have done some done the attack. So if we click on also visualization, this one's fitting with Splunk. It can visualize this thing in bar chart. We can have that set to pie chart, and over here you can see who did the greatest, which is Byte. Just right about now, we saw something when we did the start count by event, and we noticed that over here on statistics, we noticed that we had deleted recordings, 2 of them. Okay, now let's filter that by that deleted event. We can filter it by typing this and type delete, and we can hit search. Okay, so we notice something. We want to see there's the section ID for the person who deleted this particular recordings. This is the person's section ID, and the section ID is always unique for everyone, right? So if we copy this session ID or want to filter, click on this session ID, we want to add that to our search. But in this case, we want take out this delete. We want to see if there is any other person who, of course we can see the username here was Byte, but we want to see if there's any other person who used this session ID or where this session ID else would appear, and then let's search that. Okay, now with this same session ID, if we scroll down, we can begin to see that this session ID was done by Byte. And if you scroll down, keep scrolling down, you see that we had a username glitch did the same thing. Martha used the same session ID, and then Byte. Okay, so it looks like one person was able to perform some kind of brute force using different users. Okay, now that we've noticed this, now can we search this session ID and see if it is related to the other feed, which is the web, what's it called? Let's search the web log. Let's search the web logs and see if we can see anything related to this in the web log. So let's search that. In this case, let's just put it as a search here. It might not have session ID as the name there, so let's just search it this way. Okay, and then let's hit search. Voila. Now that we search this, we are now noticing that this same session ID was used or logged in. Let's see. Now that we see this, let's filter this in such a way. Source type, let's take this out. We don't need this camera ID. No. Record ID, source, we don't need that. User, we don't need that. Basically we don't need this, so we're going to filter this by the interesting fields to see what's up. Okay, now that we've had all that gone, we can filter this by client IP. We would want to see the IP address, yes, and file, we want to see the things it did, yes. And also if we scroll down, I want to look for something that is related to the section ID, and in this case it is, if we go through this in status, over here we have it under status, so we have yes. Okay, having done that, now we have the client IP, the file, and the status. Okay, and from this we notice this IP address, this particular IP address is what was running this whole thing. Okay, so now let's filter, let's try and filter. Since we have this IP address connected to this this session ID, how about if we filter this IP address and see if we have any other, let's add this to search, and let's see if this is related to any other session ID or anything else. Okay, so click that and hit search, and voila, we have this same IP address logging out and performing other events using a different session ID. Okay, now this is where it makes sense. Looks like we can now use this same session ID and go back to our CCTV logs and see if someone actually used this before there. Okay, so we'll hit this and add that to search, and over here I'm going to close this client IP bear with me. I'm going to delete that part, and let's go back to searching this with the CCTV feed. Okay, so I want to search the CCTV feed right here. Okay, let's search that. Let me see if it will watch this as status. No, it's going to see this as a session ID. So we either write it as session ID or put that in between asterisks, and then we hit search, and voila. Now this same session ID is appearing here under a username malware, which is actually the person who is doing all this. So we found the culprit, which is malware. So with that done, we can now answer some of the questions over here on TryHackMe. The first question says, extract all events from CCTV feed log. How many logs were captured associated with successful login? All we need to do is come over here under the CCTV logs and just type in successful. Alright, hit search, and all the successful events is 642. So we can type in that event. The total event related to successful logins is 642, and hit submit. The next is, what is the session ID associated with the attacker who deleted the recording? Same thing, we can come over here and type delete and just hit search. And when we do that, we can see this is the session ID that is related to the person who deleted the recording. So we're going to copy that. Let's see here, Ctrl C, come over here, we'll paste that and hit submit. Correct. What is the name of the attacker found in the log who deleted the CCTV? We already searched that particular session ID that is related to malware, and we found that the person is malware. Let me see if I can go back and see if that would take me back to okay, yeah, let me go front. Yeah, this is it. So this is the session ID that helped us to find the attacker, and the name is malware. So type that in here and submit. You can check out the Splunk data manipulation room to learn more about pasting and manipulating data in Splunk. And also, a good thing, we have a backup of the CCTV application from yesterday. We got it running again in no time. Needs no answer, and we complete, and that is it. All right, thank you guys for studying with me today. Thank you for learning with me. I'll see you guys for day 18, and do enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao.